All right, folks, here's what's going to happen now at this point. We have some folks coming on. I see, let me move this. All right, we have one of my favorite people, Nicola. On a know her, on a love her. This woman knows agriculture inside out. Every time she's on I think she's been on once or twice, but every time she's been on, I've learned so much from her. And we had a conversation recently, and we were talking about Melissa and the aftermath, and housing and agriculture itself. And she's just a wealth of knowledge. She should be the Minister of Agriculture, but she's not into politics or anything like that. So she's doing her thing on the outside, and we appreciate that and we acknowledge it. So without further ado, I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, Nicola Shirley Phillips. Nicola, welcome. You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, great. Sorry
Here
about
we
that.
go.
Wow, that's all I have to say. It's a lot going on here, and just globally. I mean, really, it's not just here. If you're in the diaspora, you have your own set of things to go on with. And I've been someone, as a matter of fact, I'm friendly with one of the people in the in your Ministry of Agriculture. He was a past person in there, and I asked him yesterday. I'm like, so what's going on? And he says it doesn't look good for us either because of everything that's been going on there with agriculture. And if you remember, the last time I was on, I told you this was going to happen. Because since ICE has been picking up everybody afraid to go farm or to be able to harvest, that we would have a problem in Jamaica around food service. And this has all to do right now, even with the storm. So I've been saying for the last 2 years that we need to get our act together because as you have challenges in the US around food, we buy a lot of cheap food from the US and it comes on a container and it gets distributed to the various markets and supermarkets. And when that is not available anymore because there's nobody to harvest it, we're going to have a problem. So here it is now. We have a problem in the US with importation because you have less food available. And now we have this storm that has knocked out St. Elizabeth and not only with all these farms and the lands. It's going to be a while before we can even think about all the greenhouses, everything.
Nicola, let me stop you right there because we have some guests and we decided to do a round table to bring everyone on. And some of them, they have the limited time, like Mr. President and Patrick. I don't see Patrick yet. But what I'd like to do is and Dwight is your brother, am I correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring on Dwight and I want to bring on Mr. President because Mr. President, he's spearheading an initiative right now to help Jamaica with its efforts to support those who are really in need.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like, let me say, someone said that, hold on 1 second. Somebody was saying that they wanted to register in the UK for the thing. Just for phone. I'm in Jamaica and the link doesn't work. Just for phone, if you're talking about the link for the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, if you're in Jamaica, if you live in Jamaica, you're not eligible to vote in this thing. You have to live outside. And then there's somebody, where is it? There's somebody who was saying that they live in the UK. You can vote in the UK. Register. Just register for now, and then we'll talk to you about the candidates. Just register for now. We'll talk to you about the candidates later. But if you live in the UK, you can register to vote, and we're asking you to do that. All right. Let me just. Where's sorry, Nicola. I was gonna. I'm looking for Dwight. All right, here's Dwight. And then, folks, here's a gentleman who needs no introduction. And we're seeing him now. And some people are going to say, we are seeing no. No. This man is extremely busy. I know. I just have some idea of what he's doing. And believe me, if I were as busy as this man, I wouldn't even come on the Rattigan program, to be honest with you. But he found time to come on recently. And he's back now. Because the last time he was on, we were just talking. But now he's back for a very, very worthy cause. You know him, you love him. Lincoln, Prezi, Lewis. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Prezi, welcome. Dwight, welcome. All right.
Welcome,
Now,
Dwight.
let me, President, where are you? Are you in Jamaica or not?
No, I'm in Florida right now.
All right. Let me just talk to Nicola and Dwight first, just to ask them, what is the situation on the ground? What is the situation on the ground?
Well, the source farm is in the east, so we were very blessed to not just get the tail end of it. So we didn't have much damage, and I've gone around and we've done some work on trees and that kind of stuff. So we're actually heading to Bluefields, Westmoreland tomorrow. So we have, as you know, that I'm the head of project for JOAM, Jamaica Organic Agriculture, and we have demonstration sites all around the island. So a number of our demonstration sites, of course, obviously Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Clarendon. I mean, we have a lot of work to do. And so we're going to be going to each of the parishes, and actually one of our team members, we haven't heard from her yet, and our communications person. And so we're going to be trying to figure out where she's, but also we're going to Westmoreland we have a chainsaw. One of the things that we did for the project, actually was part of the Genesis project. We went to to Puerto Rico when they had a storm, and we saw what they did. They have a brigade. So after the hurricane, they were able to get people that were trained on chainsaw, understand about farming, know how to put a farm back together. So we were supposed to actually do this training as part of the project to get these brigades together. Of course, we were waiting to do the training and didn't happen. So now we're actually quickly pulling together a number of our organic farmers, anybody that really knows about how to use equipment and also be able to help us. So we're going to be heading down tomorrow and do a couple of days in each of the parishes to see how we can help. Whoever needs help, we'll cook some soup and try to see. So the farmers on this side, on the eastern side, donated produce and things that we'll be able to go down to help, because I'm hearing about water needs, and obviously food and other needs as well. So whatever we're getting, we're kind of packing a couple of vehicles, and we're having a caravan going down to see what we can do. And we'll do this as we go. So the work that we do at Source Farm is always about, we didn't have as fair as like other people, because we design and build for that, right? We use domes, we do Earthbag buildings, we plan and design for these kind of situations, because we live in the Caribbean, and hurricanes are a thing every year. So where other people would be having challenges, and we keep telling people and talking to various agencies that we have to rethink about our design. We rethink about where you place your house. Some things are in floodplains, even the prevailing winds, the kinds of materials that you're using. That's why we always encourage people to do a permaculture design plan first before you put down something, but people don't even understand that. And then, parish council, the way things happen, people just put down things because they want to build something, and then they end up paying for it. So this is some of the things that we are going to be trying to do over the period of time, is to sensitize people. And then all the training that we did from the last 2 years, it really allows you now to be able to put those things into practice. So if you have leaves and tree branches, hugelkulture it. We talk about compost, we talk about making biochar, all those things that we talked about over the last 2 years, all of the island that we've been going on doing the training. This is where that comes into play now, because we knew that these days were coming, right? So we are now able to, if people remember, we gave these individual cards to show you what happens, how you deal with these things. That is what we're going to be putting out, how to make filters, water filters, for yourself, with the charcoal and the gravel and the sand, so you don't have to keep worrying about going to going to a store and trying to get that kind of water, because you can actually filter your own water. So everything we do at Source is about how do we become more resilient, right? And how we design our systems so that when these storms or earthquakes happen, we're not constantly running around, because you can design and build for a lot of it, so you don't have to be then wasting money and time and that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of work we're doing.
Let me bring in Dwight. Dwight, I've been told that, or I was told that you are responsible for these domes, that you are a construction expert, or what do you call it? An engineer. You're involved with this kind of thing. Talk to us a little bit. We have the pictures, and we're going to put the pictures up so people can see the design, which is it's an amazing design, and it shows that hurricane can't really affect this. Earthquake can't really affect it. But talk to us a little bit about it before we put them up on the screen.
Well, the beauty of it is that we can use what's under our feet. we don't have to bring in a lot of really expensive materials. Except for with the dome, we do use steel for reinforcement. But if you're building a house out of earthbag, you can literally use the soil under your feet, right? So we basically use the polyurethane bags and we create our blocks in place, and then we use barbed wire as our reinforcement. So each row of bags we do a row of barbed wire, and that as you go up in height, you tie the barbed wire into the door and the window frames, and that stabilizes the building. Once you reach a roof, then you cast a bond beam and ties the whole structure together. And this earthbag structure is part of the Jamaican building code. It's not very foreign, even though a lot of people don't use it. But this is earthquake ready.
Unmute.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm looking, and there's some people saying that the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council's website is not working. It wasn't working when they put it up like almost 2 weeks ago, and then it started working, and then now it looks like it's not working. But keep trying, people, keep trying, because that's the only website that they have listed for you to register and vote in the upcoming election. So just keep trying. Don't be dissuaded. All right, Kevin, let's put up some of these pictures here of this structure. Here's one of them. Talk to us, Nicola and
Dwight.
Talk to us about this.
So what you're looking at is our monolithic dome. It's our wellness center here at the Source Farm. And you can't see the other dome, but there's 3 domes connected by an open hallway. And these things can withstand hurricane force winds because of the shape. And the beauty of it is that, we see in a hurricane, a lot of roofs are being blown off. There is no roof for this. The roofs and the walls are all in one. And when the wind comes, instead of having a flat wall to push against and break apart, it actually wraps around the building and creates downforce, and it actually holds the building down. So with the dome buildings, we incorporate earthbag also. So for the foundations, we use the earthbags to create a foundation, and then we nail the balloon down, inflate the balloon, and reinforce it with steel, and then cover that with a mixture of cement.
Let me show some more photographs here, different angle, different things going on. No, let me skip that. We'll get to that. All right. This is a foundation, am I correct? Or this is
correct? That's a foundation, and also, I don't know if you can tell from that picture, we're also building a underground cistern. So with the shape of the building, when the rain falls, it automatically will shed down. So what we do is create a gutter system at the base of the wall, and then that directs the water into the underground collection tank. And most of the structures that we build are completely off-grid. So you have your water collection and you have solar. So we have the solar pump that connects to that tank and feeds the house. So you can have this unit and be completely far away from JPS or water commission and still run your house efficiently.
Let me show another one. Okay, this is even further down in the ground. Talk to us again. Talk to us about this.
So this tank, we're building a community in Otrius where there's actually no water. All water has to be trucked to this community. So we had to build a much larger tank for this person. And I think this holds probably about 11,000 gallons when we were finished. So this was we took the 30-foot of the circumference of the dome and built a water collection and then cast a floor on top.
Okay, so we're looking at the foundation, but we're also looking at the water tank underneath the foundation.
Yeah, the water. Yep, exactly.
That's ingenious. Let me look at another one here. Here's another one.
So that is a 4-bedroom dome structure on the Source Farm, and that also has a water collection, solar, and completely off-grid.
Completely off-grid.
Yeah.
Okay. We saw that one. This is one of the photographs inside, huh?
Right, that's one of the interiors. So you can see the inside, it's very beautiful. Just have curved walls.
Okay. Kevin, do you have any more pictures?
We have a couple of videos. Actually.
All right. I could show a couple of them. While Kevin is doing that, let me ask this. talk to us about the cost.
Cost. The basic cost for a Earthbag, say a 20 by 20 square Earthbag. Because the beauty of the Earthbag is that we can make it look like the standard block and steel. Some people can't get their head around the dome, and some people don't like the look of it. So with the Earthbag, you can look like a standard block and steel. And depending on because the beauty of Earthbag is that you can do community outreach and have people in the community come and help build a house. Because once you have one or two skilled laborers on site, it's basically just filling the bags with dirt. So the Earthbag can be anywhere from as low as, I think we did one for about $77,000 US.
Mm-hmm.
That's with a concrete slab roof, and that's without solar. Of course, you add solar, and if you add water collection underground, the price is going to go up. And the dome is not much farther off of that.
Mm-hmm. Nicola,
You're muted, Nicola.
So I said also one of the things that I want to tell the story about how we came about this, because when we decided to move back to Jamaica, we couldn't build block and steel. So somebody in our friends told us about Earthbag buildings, and we did the research and that kind of stuff. And we excavated the site, which we had a lot of marl, and we just excavated that, and we put all that material back into the bags, right? And it's a child could do. We had children fill in the bags and that kind of stuff. So it depends on the kind of structure you want, how big you want your house and all that stuff. Or if we did it where we got $15,000 as a USAID project, and we built a room that we have the sewing cooperative in. So it depends on what it is that you want to do, like how big you want it. My house was built out of Earthbag, and we had material on site. The more material you have on site, all that material that you normally take away and excavate and get rid of is the stuff that you can use, whether it's soil or if it's a soil cement mix, or it's marl and a little bit of cement. So there's varying, depends on where you are as well. So if you're in a place where you don't have access to marl and stuff, it might be a little bit more expensive because you have to truck that stuff in. But most sites, unless you're dealing with rock, is available. And why we're even encouraging people to do this, and as I said, when we built it, NHT came out and looked at it, and is now part of the building code as Adobe. Other people knew about this technology from a long time because we've always been building with earth throughout Africa, throughout the world. Earth and buildings is nothing new. It's something that we haven't been, we super Adobe because we put it into bags. Those bags. If you have any kind of sacks or that kind of stuff, you will see that's what that's what we can utilize. But it's something that we have been trying to get more Jamaicans to understand. But it's like, it's a dome thing. We're really into block and steel, and that's just because that is what the original kind of people came with. But there are other technologies out there that is actually better for us, because invariably you put a block and you don't have money necessarily to slab it. You put some kind of wooden roof on it, and that's what's been happening. So, and it's not aerodynamic for the fact that we get these winds. And so when we came, we're like, okay, what other appropriate technologies out there? And so we started to play around with, obviously, the monolithic domes that you've seen that Dwight did, and also the block and steel and the Earthbag. And you look at the material, it's the bags, barbed wire, chicken wire, right? And you decide if you want to slab it or how you want to do your roofing. But in terms of the Earthbag, and then the dome is just one complete roof, and nothing to lift off of it. I mean, we just went through, obviously, we've been going through a number of storms over the years. We have Earthbag, we have the domes, and we also do another kind of
Quonset hut.
Right, the Quonset hut as well. All of those buildings that have that dome shape, they don't move. The wind just blows right over them. But it's now to get our mind to shift. And now that we have, obviously, this devastation, the thing that I'm afraid of is that we're going to go right back to the nonsense that we've been doing, just because, we know if we do this, but not willing to make the change. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, because that's all we're saying you're going to have that same result. So I'm really encouraging people to we've always done tours. People always come and they take a look and they see what we have, beautiful, beautiful, and they go back to the block and steal. So we're going to be doing some training. We're, one of the things the initiative we're doing after, we know that there's a number of people obviously going to need houses, and we're going to work a Jamaica partner system where we'll figure out which community is really wants to take this on, and we will do the training and work with people, whether if you want to do Earthbag, because source is about open source, about teaching and sharing information. There's a lot of houses we could never build every single house that's necessary, but it's about now sharing information with everybody so they'll be able to learn, just like how we learned. We watched some videos, we brought an engineer in, we learned how to do it. Our work now is to be able to translate that across for everybody to come and learn from us. We've had workshops. NHG has actually paid for workshops for people to come and learn how to do this. And we want more people to understand that this is available to them. Anybody who's returning or anybody that is, figuring out how we're going to rebuild. And there's a number of globally, if you look up monolithic domes, globally, whenever there has been issues, other countries have picked these models up and create really beautiful communities with them. So it's something for us to really think about. And we'll be doing trainings and workshops and stuff in the future on both Earthbag and, Dwight doing his the monolithic dome stuff.
Affordable homes, fixing up and all that stuff. So that is what we are looking at in addition to that. So sometimes I get cursed enough for me like be involved in something, but it kind of work out. I pimp out myself for Jamaica.
Let me just hold on a second, Patrick. Let me see. Marcia in the chat, she says, if the people are going to help their people, what the government going to do with the charity money and the insurance bond Nigel Clark say they have? That's a good question, and it's a compound question because there's so many parts to it that that need to be answered. But let me just talk to people about this bond, because I've seen people writing about it. I've read what they've written, and I've seen a few clips of people talking about it. And we did a program on the cat bond last year. I think Prezi, I don't know if you were there, but it was last year right after Beryl. And we went through the whole thing. And we're going to put it up again, folks, so that people can get a good idea, a good grasp of what this cat bond is. Now, I'll just give you an overview. And let me say that Jamaica has been hit many times, not directly, by storms and hurricanes. And every time we had to borrow money to deal with the damage. So back in, I think it was 2014, there was something called a Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. It's something having to do with CARICOM. It's just where they pool their resources, and if you get hit, you can draw down from that fund. We've been doing that. That fund was established, I think back in 2014, or maybe even before. So the cat bond that we're talking about, it's not that. The cat bond we're talking about, people, that came about as a result of the funding that we had, funding structure we had in place was insufficient to deal with the losses we incurred. So, and everybody's talking about, Minister Nigel Clark and what he did. Yes, he was not responsible for the Caribbean fund structure. He was not responsible. That was before his time. But what he did was he approached the World Bank and a few investors. And in 2021, they decided, when I said they, it was Germany, the UK, and I believe the US through USAID. What they did, they funded this bond, this one that we're talking about now. They funded it back in 2021, and it was they funded it 2021, 2022, and 2023. And the payout at that time was $185 million. So remember now, we have the UK, Germany, and I believe USAID, and I think Jamaica chipped in a little bit. But they all funded this thing for Jamaica to the tune of $185 million worth of coverage. They didn't claim anything against this cat bond, because the closest they came was burial, and they got zero. Because here's what people don't realize: in order for you to collect on this cat bond, there are certain requirements. What they did, they broke up Jamaica into 19 grids. They put 19 grids, superimposed it on Jamaica, and they said, okay, first you must have a named storm. So if you have a tropical depression that wreaks havoc on Jamaica, you get zero. So it must be named. Okay, Melissa, named. It must be a category 5. A category 4 is not going to get you any money, right? Because what they do is they have values placed on each grid. So and it's based on the intensity of the hurricane, not on your loss. So you could lose 10 billion and you stand, the most you would get if you satisfy the requirement is 150 million, which is a drop in the bucket. So they said, okay, for these grid, you have a certain barometric pressure, you have a certain wind speed, you have a certain category of hurricane, and they look at the grids to see how this storm progresses through the hurricane. So progresses through the grid. So if it goes through one grid and then it gets to a second grid and it drops to a 4 or a 3, you're not getting any money over there. You get money for where it's a 5 and where the barometric pressure is at a certain level and the wind speed and all of that. And remember, each grid has a value. So here's where we stand. The beauty about it is that you get paid. You don't have to wait a long time. So by next week or so, they'll finish their assessment and Jamaica will get some money. Will Jamaica get 150 million? We don't know. It's likely, but we don't know, because they're going to look to see, okay, how many grids did this thing go through? And what's the value that we're going to place on each grid? And keep in mind, people, that this bond, it's not issued by the World Bank. There are 15 investors. 15 investors who put up the money. It's managed by the World Bank in the sense that the World Bank will collect the premiums from Jamaica, and if there is a payout to be made, like now, then they have the money from the investors, and then they will pay Jamaica. That's how it works. It's not the World Bank has no liability. Yeah, they won't spend any money on this. So it's important for us to know that it depends on the intensity of the storm and how many grids that it passed through. Another thing that we have to remember is this. So far, the experts are saying that Melissa inflicted somewhere between 3 billion and about 5.56 billion worth of damage on Jamaica. The most you're going to get from this cat bond is 150. So you can see the problem right there already. You can see there's not enough money. So that's why, Jamaica is reaching out, and I suspect that Jamaica is going to have to take out a loan. Now, we have a favorable rating based on the aggressive payment that we've made, the GDP to debt, all of that stuff. So we can get the money to fix up, whatever needs to be fixing, and it's a lot. But we need to understand that the cat bond, it's not automatic, and there are certain requirements. Now, also, the cat bond does not cover earthquake damage. It's only for hurricane. So if we get hit with a massive earthquake, we have no money to collect from the cat bond. Remember that, people. It is only for hurricanes, and it's only for named hurricanes, category 5 with a certain barometric pressure entering the grids. And they have 19 grids, and the grids have different values. So, and remember this, it's an insurance. And we know about insurance policies and insurance companies. They don't like to pay. They find every reason not to pay you fair value for the damage incurred. So you know that these investors, they're going to be looking at this carefully. And, I wouldn't be surprised, based on the damage, well, not the damage, because it's not based on economic damage, but based on the travel path of the hurricane, it would appear to me that they went through several grids, and so they just maxed out the 150 million. But I wouldn't be surprised if they say, well, it's not 150, it's 100 or something to that effect. I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that they'll pay out in full. But you just need to know some basics about this bond. Another thing that you need to know about this bond is that the cost. How much does it cost Jamaica to have this bond? It costs Jamaica taxpayers $10.5 million a year to buy this insurance. And when Germany, the UK, and all of those people, when they finished in 2023, they said to Jamaica, you're on your own now. We're not going to finance this any longer. So Jamaica had to go out now and get the bond, or they continued the bond, but now Jamaica is the only one. They have no assistance in terms of financing. So since for 2024, Jamaica paid $10.5 million US dollars to have this bond. And then this year, they paid 10.5. So essentially what you're looking at is Jamaica has paid or will pay $21 million to collect $150 million maximum. And we did a program last year, as I said. We brought on Richard James, a mathematician, and we were looking at whether that was value for money, whether that was a good deal. And based on his calculations, he said to get $150 million worth of coverage, we should have paid, I think, somewhere like only $3 or $4 million a year, not $10.5 million a year. That's something that we need to look into. But those are the basics. Just keep that in mind. The money is going to be forthcoming rather quickly, because that's one of the beauties about this program, that they don't wait forever to give you the money. They come on the ground, they talk to people, they look at their data, and then they make an assessment and said, okay, fine, this is how much we're going to pay, and so they pay you. So when people are saying that, they're heaping praise on Minister Clark, I'm not going to rain on his parade, because he was instrumental in getting the bond. However, just keep in mind the requirements. And you know what's funny? Last year, we didn't hear people complaining, saying, how we could have negotiated something like that? That very liquid so hard, and we get zero, and we give them $10.5 million. And so because some people are saying, hey, maybe it should be, maybe it shouldn't be a direct hit. Maybe it should be based on economic loss. Maybe it should be based on something else. But Beryl, keep in mind, people, that Beryl, as devastating as Beryl was to the southern part of Jamaica, and the same area essentially, St. Elizabeth and the surrounding parishes, we got zero. Because again, remember, it must be category 5. It must be a direct hit. It must go through the grids, must have a certain wind speed, barometric pressure, all of that stuff. And if you don't have that, no money for you. Keep in mind that insurance is essentially a gamble. You're taking precautionary measures against something that you believe is likely to happen. So that's where we are with that. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me, or we're going to put out the program that we did last year, so that it has a little bit more information than I'm giving you now, so you can listen to it, get yourself educated, and then if you still have questions, then you can give me a call. All right, enough of that. Who's up? Nicola, Dwight, Dr. Ben, Mr. Prezi, Patrick. Who's up?
Well, I will definitely have a conversation too. So we're looking at, obviously right now we're just trying to figure out what's going on and stabilize. But I'm also looking at, in the next 6 months, what's going to have around the whole food system. So we're going to have to put some food in the ground. Definitely on the eastern side, anybody that wasn't affected, I'm really asking all the folks, if you have people on the other side that wasn't affected, we need to let them know they need to be planting things to support the rest of the island. So we're going to be doing that and doing some training with folks. I mean, I've been telling everybody they have to put food in the ground. If you have a bucket, if you have land, you have flowers in your thing, we can't eat flowers, we're going to be needing to put that in the ground. It's going to be very serious. Because you'd see the price of food is going to skyrocket, and when it's not available. So what do you do tomorrow? You want to help the people on the eastern side, is there anywhere that's not affected? Really put some food in the ground, plant a tomato, learn how to, if you're not sure, come to us, give me a call. We're going to be setting up some other workshops and stuff to make sure people know to put seeds in and nurture that, because we're going to need the food. So if you look at what's going on now, what has happened here, and then what the impact of the US is going to be, you know you're going for higher food prices. So, when do we plant? Yesterday, as I was saying. It's going to be very, very important. So not just about, yes, we're going to do the immediate thing, but what happens 3-6 months down the road when the lack of food, because remember, we normally, the farmers are putting in things and they know that Christmas is going to come and they're going to harvest some things. That is not going to be available, right? And then they're going to take a couple of months to recover, sort them, help themselves out to be even able to figure out what they can put in, right? All that yam in Manchester gone. Certain ground provisions that we normally have, some of that is just not around. And then all the tree crops. I mean, one of our farmers, everything flattened. We were actually going to do a workshop with them this coming week. All those workshops are done. She's been, had that property for a number of years, very fruitful property. Every single mango tree, every lime tree, every tree, everything gone. All her birds are gone. Everything is gone. So just think about that effect across all those parishes. That's what we're looking at. So when we're planning, don't just plan for this, immediate thing. Think about the long-term effects. What does it look like 6 months, a year out? Again, with the housing, again, with everything else, making sure for them.
Nicola,
right.
Okay. I just want to add something that we're discussing, toying with. We're thinking about the farmers big time. But what I would suggest, because the farmers can't feed the entire market at this time, but what I would suggest that those, and for everyone who is involved in sending stuff, get some tomato seeds, get some other vegetable seeds. If you go to stores that usually sell them during this spring for summer planting, we could send seeds down to people to plant in their yard space. Somebody plant some tomato, somebody plant some callaloo, somebody plant some stuff. These are stuff we could send it with the thing and say, start planting the little thing for the because you can do it.
So could I just stop for a second? So we have to be careful with that because plant quarantine is going to seize all of that stuff, straight up. The seed coming in, they're going to hold on to it. So there's a way to do it. So maybe you and I will have a conversation of whoever is wanting to send seeds. We can help you with the permitting to make sure that happens because we actually, right now, we have $3,000 US worth of seeds that plant quarantine has held because of, if it's organic seeds, it's not going to work. If it's, treated seeds, you still need a permit. So I'm just going to let you know that. So let's have that conversation so I can help you facilitate that so you don't end up doing all this work and then they hold on to it, right? And they will because they are concerned, especially when times like this, that people are just sending anything and then they're going to end up with fungus issues later on. So just, you can take my number, leave it, or,
okay. No
share,
problem.
and then I will absolutely help you make sure those seeds get here.